Delaware 105.9 FM. You can follow us along on our Facebook page at facebook.com/coastalae, or you can go to tvdelmarva.com and check out all the goodness that's going on there with that type of fun audio multimedia presentation. It's all very good here on a beautiful Saturday morning on Coastal A&E. All of this is possible thanks to our amazing sponsors, the Residences of Lighthouse Cove, Dewey Beach, Sprouse Thomas and Real Estate Associates, and Peninsula Fine Art and Custom Framing in Lewis. You can call or text with questions and comments. I know you're going to want to do that today because we got a fun show on tap at 302-491-6484. In the studio with me this morning is my friend Rob Waters of W Films, award-winning independent filmmaker. How are you, Rob?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, man. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Can people see your super cool sweater that you get on explain to people the storyline, the story arc of that sweater.
So this is the Krampus sweater, and if anyone knows what Krampus is, I think he's German. I think he is. Yeah, I think it's a German
He's a
folklore.
Scary German creature.
Yeah, so if you were a bad kid, Krampus would show up and pretty much drag you away to his lair and
beat you with whips
or eat you. You know, either way, it's all bad.
No, it's all bad. It was a great way to keep kids in line. I mean, it's like the whole elf on the shelf. Oh, better be good. No, how about instead? Here's this creature from the dark forest of Germany.
I didn't even know what elf on the shelf was till like a week or two ago.
I'm still not quite sure.
Yeah,
is it like a little creepy elf toy that?
It's a very happy little elf on the shelf that judges you all year long. Yeah. It's kind of creepy.
That judge. Well, so Rob and I, we've done this. This is the first time I think you've been on Coastal A&E.
No, yeah, we do your Monday show.
A whole different thing. I'm really glad that you're here and you can see the glory, the joy of
It is a
TV
beautiful
Delmarva.
studio, really nice.
It's very impressive.
Yes, yeah.
And of course, people can watch us out here live too. I believe we're on our Facebook stream, facebook.com Coastal AE, and I'm going to be sharing that all over the place here in a little bit. But you and I, we like to talk film. We talk about a lot of things, but in particular, film. Yeah.
We're big on listing films. Like for Halloween, we did our top 10 horror movies.
We did.
Yeah.
But you said that we spoke too long and we had to rush through that.
Yeah, we had to run through the last 5. So my challenge to you was to bring in and talk about talk about your 5 favorite Christmas movies.
Yeah, and I did. I made a list of 5 because we're going to be here for the entire hour broadcast, and then for the live stream only portion of our show between 12 and 1. I also want to remind people that Mayor Ted Becker of Lewis is calling in because the Lewis Christmas Parade is tonight.
My hometown, Lewis?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's very exciting. The phenomenal Christmas Parade night, and Ted's going to give us all the lovely inside scoop, like there needs to be an inside scoop on the Lewis Christmas Parade. Well, we're going to get it from him. And then we have Al Frantic, musician. I saw him out there. He's going to come in.
He's great, yeah.
A lot of fun. So we got a fun thing going up.
That is a full show, my friend.
It's a very full show, yeah. I mean, we need the Rockettes or something here.
I got one phone call.
Can you dance? Are you good? Are you going to put on heels and dance around like a rockette?
Yeah, I think we could do that.
Look how festive we look, man. We're
color coordinated.
Color coordinated. That was a fluke, everybody. That was just sort of.
I like to show up ready.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to hear it. So we've made what I would people might call in when Mayor Becker calls in. You better believe I'm going to ask him what his favorite Christmas film is.
And you out there, if you want to, is it on? You said Facebook.
Yeah.
So give us your quotes. Start with "Dear idiots."
I'm trying
to. How did you miss this film?
Well, it's a challenge when you're only picking 5 of them because there's so many. And we had this before when you were on the other show. We were doing our horror top 10. I tended to stay more in the classic film zone, and you were doing things that were a little more contemporary, and that was just sort of how it flowed for us. So I'm done. I don't know what's on your list, of course, but I'm staying more on the classic side as well.
And I'm going to not.
I figured. Good.
Well, okay, let's let our audience know there's some parameters here. So these are our favorites. We're not saying these are the best films of all time. These are the things that influenced us, or at least my lists are my favorite from my childhood. Some modern ones, but there's also one other caveat that I want to put in here because I'm sure we're going to get emails because some things will be missed. These lists are, at least mine, are actual full-on Christmas movies. They're not movies in a little bit of Christmas packaging. So let's say, I remember when you posted this was going to happen.
Full-on Christmas movies.
Well, explain. So someone on Facebook said, well, Die Hard better be there.
Yes.
And I love Die Hard. Yeah. I run the Revival House. We showed it last year for Christmas.
That's right.
but it is not a Christmas movie. It is a movie that has a little bit of Christmas packaging.
Oh.
But if you took Christmas out of it, it'd still be Die Hard.
That's right. So you're starting off with controversy immediately because people are like, you better put Die Hard on that list.
How could Gremlins not be in there? It's like, it's still, if you took Christmas out of it, still.
That's a good point.
That's what I want.
So that's the. Well, now I'm thinking of. I have a film that's we'll get to that,
Sure.
and now I want to bounce and say, hey, Rob, does this fall under your idea of what makes a Christmas film?
Well, keep it. We will discuss it. That's
Cool. Oh yeah, I'm going to. Well, here's a movie that is one of my favorite holiday films that's not on my list. I'm almost certain it's not on yours. It is a holiday film, but it's not Christmas. It's Thanksgiving, and I watch it which is Hannah and Her Sisters. I'm a big fan of that.
Oh, that's
movie.
great.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it starts out, the very first scene begins at Thanksgiving, and the last scene ends at Thanksgiving years later. So it's this full circle thing, and that to me is a holiday-esque film.
My Thanksgiving film is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Great one.
That's
a great one.
my Thanksgiving film.
We could have done a whole thing. There's a lot of Thanksgiving films out there.
There is. There's some good ones.
Because a lot of people get so freaked out about, like, friends and family and the crazy uncle and the person's, all that stuff happens. But
yeah, Thanksgiving films tend to be more family dynamic oriented because that is what, Thanksgiving is everyone coming and talking about their politics and getting angry at each other. That's
eating, over drinking, and getting into fights.
Exactly. That's a Thanksgiving for me.
Is that what that? Well, there's a lot of movies that document that well, and to some degree, Hannah and Her Sisters, which is a very sort of complex, multi-layered story over about 5 years, I would say. But those are the bookends. Of that holiday. Which I
haven't watched that in a long time. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Yeah.
You have to. Yeah, I know Woody Allen is controversial, but
I might have to come back to it.
I mean, there's a lot we've sort of.
Can you separate the man from the art? That's the hard thing.
I mean, like Orson Welles is a brilliant filmmaker, but sort of not. He had some issues. There are a lot of creative people that just pay attention to the arts. So I say the right thing.
So, side note about Orson Welles: if I could ever make a film about something in real life, like if someone said, "Hey, here's your wish list. Here's all this money. Go make a film," but it has to be like about a real life subject. Mm-hmm. I would totally do like the real life happening of War of the Worlds with Orson Welles. I just find that so fascinating. I would love to do a movie just about that.
I thought, is there not a film out there that addresses that?
No. I mean, there's things kind of like it, but like a
War of the Worlds.
It's just amazing.
It is amazing.
He fooled everybody.
He did, yeah.
He was just...
Well, the guy he really was a
brilliant man.
He was brilliant. I mean, you and I talk film, and one of my favorite films, A Touch of Evil, which is a absolutely
wonderful.
Brilliant film. One of my favorite films of all time was, of course, one of his films. Mm-hmm. Several of his, Citizen Kane, an incredible film. The Third Man, which is a brilliant film. I don't know if he directed that, but he's in that movie, and he's a pivotal part of that film, and that's an amazing
I've never
film
seen
as
that
well.
one.
Oh man, we got to get together sometime and like just throw. All right, now we're going to watch this. But the thing today is holiday movies. I know you've made a top 5 list. I made a top 5 list.
Do you want to get into it?
Yeah, I guess we could. Why not? Because we were going to go to break and at the end of the half hour. So do you want to tell me?
We'll start at 5.
You have to start at 5 because we got a long time to go with this one, unlike last time.
So I want to start my list by saying people will get angry because probably the quintessential Hollywood Christmas film isn't on my list, and I'll explain why. It's a Wonderful Life is not on my list. I know. But here's my reason. I didn't grow up with it. Like, it wasn't on TV. I knew of it as a reference point, and I knew like all the beats, but it really wasn't on TV.
It was on TV every year.
When I was a kid, and it really wasn't. And I was asking my wife that too. I was like, "Did you see one? It's a Wonderful Life." She's like, "No, it really wasn't on cable when I was a kid. It wasn't on, unless you watch like Turner Classic Movies a lot."
Oh well, okay,
there you go. Yeah. But anyway, it's not on there because of that. I think it's a wonderful film, but it didn't influence me as much. Other than like, I know it is like a joke in life.
You've seen the film? Have you seen the film?
Yeah, I've seen the film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
that's not even that's not even on your list. So what is your number 5?
I'm gonna go number 5 because I wanted to do a modern one through
okay.
And I think of all the films that have come out in the past 10, 15 years, I think Elf is the one that's become like the classic, the latest modern day classic, the one that I think will keep on going. Agree. It will just keep going, and I think that's. I love the film directed by Jon Favreau, and I think it's kind of Will Ferrell's big breakout thing, and I don't know. It's great for all ages. I think it's aging well already. So.
And how old is the movie now? Is it over 10 years old?
I think it's over 10.
Yeah. I was watching a little vignette somewhere about some of the making of that movie, and the clever ways that they use camera angles. For example, when Will Ferrell is in the elf school.
Oh yeah.
That's actually not a trick. I mean, it's a trick shot.
It's all
but
trick
it's not,
shot. But it's great. Yeah.
It's not CGI.
A lot of practical, and they use a lot of stop motion animation for all like the old time when they're in Santa's Village kind of area. Yeah, I just love that film.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So your number 5 is Elf.
Is Elf,
which is a modern day classic.
That's my modern day one in there. Yeah,
modern day classic. That's good, and no CGI. But actually, before we get into that, I'm going to throw mine out there. I also wanted to ask you. God, we should have done this before we went on the air. Now we're like here on the radio. Like, but what about this rule and regulation? Where do animated films and claymation, which was really big by the Rican Bass production company way back when, do those count?
I have an animated film on my list.
Do you? Okay,
yes, I do.
Got it. Because I considered it, but and I wonder if the one that's on your list may be one I'm like, oh well, I'm going to put them on here, but that's good. So you included an animated film. All right, so we're going to go to my number 5, what I consider, and again, there's other films that
this isn't the best films of all time.
Not the best
These
of all
are your
time.
favorites.
I think I may have put like all time and part of some of the branding out there. So ignore that. My number 5 film, and again, this goes back to when I said it may not be necessarily a holiday film, but there's a nice chunk of it. It's known for this particular scene. It's Meet Me in St. Louis.
Oh, nice.
Which is a great film.
That's a great film.
1944. Yes. Judy Garland, Margaret O'Brien, Mary Astor, Leon Ames played the father, directed by Vincent Minnelli. But the scene, man, where she's singing "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" to the sister, Margaret O'Brien is classic.
Yeah, that is a classic scene.
It's a brilliant. But I think so that part of it, there's a little more holiday thing, but it goes to a whole year of holidays.
I consider that like a full Christmas movie. So that's great.
Okay,
yeah, that's
good.
There. It makes the cut. It's okay.
So explain to me again how the cut was made on that this is a full Christmas movie, because
if you took Christmas out of it, I don't think it would work as well.
Correct.
That's the whole thing. Like if you, again, we go back to Die Hard. You take Christmas out of Die Hard, it will still be Die Hard, but if you take Christmas out of that, I don't think that film would work nearly as well.
I was reading an interesting little snippet, interview with Margaret O'Brien, who played the little girl, the youngest of the kids, and Meet Me in St. Louis, and she was great in the movie. And they talk about, that was sort of popular, at least a meme that went around at the time, is when you wanted a kid to cry on camera, you would tell them something awful. The director would say, "Hey, that dog you like? Well, it's too bad he just got hit by the ice truck in the parking lot. Hey, you're on," that type of thing.
Directors were awful.
Directors were cruel, right?
Yes.
So, but instead on this, the girl had been around, she'd done several movies, and the mother knew this is not going to work for her. So what her mother would do is say, "Hey, June Allison's over there on the other side. That little girl can cry on the drop of a hat, man. She's brilliant." She is, and this would like, "Oh no, I'm going to up that," and she would just crank it on.
Oh, nice.
It was professional motivation.
The dead dog trick.
Yes, this is much better than the dead.
I haven't done the dead dog trick as a director yet, but it's in my back pocket.
Back pocket. That's right.
Yeah,
the kid's got to cry on cue. Yeah. Oh, has he got a dog? Okay, we got it. We can make this work.
He's got a gerbil. I'll make that work.
Gerbil.
It's fine. We'll make that work.
A dead Christmas gerbil. Let's see. So we got time to go to. Do you want to do the number 4?
Number 4. All right.
I know that we have things.
This
to talk
is where
about
the animation comes in, and it's actually even a show. It's not a movie, but Charlie Brown Christmas. That's in my DNA as a person. Like
seriously, that was probably almost going to be my number 1.
Yeah, it's just.
But it wasn't. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. The music is great. The children in it are actually really children. They're not actors, and it's perfect.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful movie. I watch it every Christmas.
I do.
Yeah, every Christmas. So the whole thing. Everyone does. That came out the year I was born.
Really?
Yeah. 1874.
Nice.
It's amazing that they had animated film. Victorian Christmas.
It's amazing.
Yeah, pretty cool.
But just the watercolor, backgrounds, and I mean, I remember I'm lucky enough that the Ocean City Film Festival used to give me like my own little film festival every year.
Oh, yeah,
and I think I sent you that. We used to do a poster, and every year I do a version of my family as the Charlie Brown Christmas kids.
That doesn't sound familiar to me, but I would love to see that.
I always illustrated it like we were the Charlie Brown Christmas characters.
That's very cool.
It's a really
Which one were you?
Well, no, I mean, it's just us in that form.
Oh, got it.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm like, wait a second.
Like last year, you know, the Charlie Brown Christmas like album. It has the tree and it's a white background and they're dancing around it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Right up there. Thank you. Look at that beautiful. Thank you, Colin, for that. There's a little screen capture right now if you're watching our TV Delmarva, Facebook.com, TV
Well
Delmarva,
done. You're on that, man.
That was right on. Yeah. Colin, that's why he's the big man here.
There you go.
So you're right. I'm glad you mentioned the watercolor backgrounds because that was at the time that had not been done before in animated film, particularly one on that level that was so successful. And there was a big commercial push behind that film because Charlie Brown had become so popular culturally at the time. They weren't sure how they're going to pull it off, and of course the score, which is classic.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful.
And so there are now these wonderful holiday jazz from that film that are now considered just classic holiday tunes. You all these things were written by Vincent
Guaraldi.
Yes, thank you, Vincent Guaraldi. Just beautiful tracking, but the watercolor alone, that was a whole new thing. And it's aged beautifully over the years. I mean, that movie is 54 years old, man, almost 55 years old.
Did it not go over? I think it didn't go over well, though, did it, when it first came out? I think it was
kind of like
ripped apart a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that might have
been all great art is always ripped apart.
It is true. Yeah. It's got to stand the test of time.
They don't know what they're talking about. But so that's okay. Thank you for putting that in there. That's a phenomenal film. I will go. We got enough time, right? I got to go to the second one on my list. And listen, everybody, feel free to give us a call, 302-491-6484 with your holiday films, or go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/coastalae or facebook.com/TV Delmarva, and type a little comment out there. You may not even know this. This goes into another. This is a made-for-television movie. How does that fit?
That could be. I mean, hey, I got a half-hour cartoon in mind, so we're breaking the rules a little bit. That's all right.
And that was made for television too. Well, so okay, you already been the groundbreaker. This is a movie. It's called The Homecoming, A Christmas Story. It was from 1971 with Patricia Neal, and it was what they based the TV show The Waltons on.
Oh, okay.
And it was incredible. And I saw it when I was a kid. It was beautiful. I was a big fan of the TV show The Waltons. Of course, it was the early 70s, and that was, part of the lexicon of that time, it's sort of, but it's just a beautiful film. Patricia Neal, Richard Thomas, who went on to play the original John Boy in The Waltons. He's in the film. I think Will Greer is also in that film, who went on to play the original grandpa. In fact, they kept a lot of the cast from this movie.
Okay.
They replaced the father, I believe. But and there it is. Thank you. Right there, right now. You can see this is a screen capture of The Homecoming and Christmas Story. Yeah, see, this guy that played the father, he didn't make the final cut, but everybody else here did. They're like, nah, we're getting a different father. And that went on for the Waltons. Patricia Neal was not in the Waltons. They replaced her with Michael Leonard. But she's brilliant in this film.
Okay, I've never seen that.
Takes place in the mountains in the 1930s of Virginia, and the father takes this job in some other part of the county to get money, because it's hard scrabble time, and there's a terrible storm, and there's a chance that he's gone, and it's how it affects the family on Christmas Eve. Beautiful story. I wonder if anyone else out there has heard of it. Colin, have you ever heard of that film? Have you ever seen that? Am I the only one who watched
I think
this
so.
in 1971 as a kid?
There's a lot of crickets going on.
I wasn't even born in 1971, Michael. I'm sorry.
I was 6 years old. I was in first grade. Maybe I had to watch it for a class. I don't know. It was very good. Very good.
It sounds very wholesome and very
Was there
Christmassy.
TVs back then?
There was. Well, I heard there was big giant consoles. They're black and white in color. You had to choose the big things. Pretty crazy stuff. So anyway, that was I didn't realize it would be that unpopular, but I'm glad I got it out there.
Well, I mean, that's this. This isn't like you said. We're not saying this is like everyone this is top 5 all time. This is what formed you as a person. That's my opinion on this.
No, right on. And it did. And thank you. Yeah, and it did. I remember watching that at the time. There's a brilliant scene in that movie where they're giving the less fortunate kids Christmas gifts, and the little bitty girl who played Elizabeth, who was the youngest of the kids in the film, this is the only Christmas gift she's going to get. So John Boy takes her here, and she's very excited about it. It's a porcelain doll, and when she opens it, the face is all busted in on this doll. And it was so symbolic of so many things and the way she reacted, which is brilliant direction and acting. And it really, and I was a little kid, and I was taking that in. So
I was like, oh, you're your first grader taking in symbolism.
Yeah,
all right,
that's
that's impressive
stuff. So we're going to go to break, but we want to save some of this when we come back. I know that I believe Mayor Ted Becker is going to be calling us in with an update on the Lewis Christmas Parade, which is very exciting. Are you a fan of the Christmas Parade?
I am, and I'm covering it tonight, so I'll be there.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Good.
I'll be there for the Cape Gazette, covering it all.
Right on, bringing out the drone.
It's like, I can't go too late at night, but yeah, I'll get it out there somehow.
Right on. It's going to be exciting. That parade gets bigger and better every year.
I love it. I mean, I live in pretty much downtown Lewis, and it's just, and so do you. It's just a great. I love it every year. It's just a great small town one. I mean, if you live in the area, it's pretty much the same thing as the Rehoboth one, but I prefer it in Lewis because it just feels a little bit closer.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the great things about around here is that all the wonderful little towns all have their individual little parades, and I think they at least try to make sure that they're not overlapping.
They do. I mean, they're all pretty good that way. I think Milton already had theirs. Georgetown's going to have a cool event on Monday.
What do they got going on?
They have this I think it's singing on the circle or choir on the circle. So everyone gathers on the circle and kind of has a little bit like the Rehoboth tree lighting. But yeah, the entire town comes together and just has like a huge sing along.
That's cool.
It's really great. Yeah.
Have you ever? Do you ever do the whole caroling thing, dressing in period pieces?
My wife is really good at that. That's not my thing. Yes. I don't know if anyone can hear this voice on the radio. This is not a voice for singing. It just doesn't really work out.
I've done some caroling in the past. Maybe if I get brave, I'll share a fun little caroling story later in the hour.
Hey, all right.
Because when the unexpected things happen, you just never know what to do. I would love if people called in and gave us. They were putting it on Facebook, as you said. People were like, oh, this had better make the list.
Again, this is going to be a lot of dear idiots. How did you not have this in your? Yeah.
Well, everybody, particularly when it comes to holiday film, everyone has. They pick favorites, because it touches certain heartstrings get plucked.
Sure, no, that's the reason that's why my list is the way it is.
Yeah, right on, and we got 3 more to do. But we have an hour and a half left to do it, and a couple of other things coming on. So we're going to make it happen this time. It's been a rushing through the last time.
Well, I think we got time. We could, I can still add to my list when we need to.
That's
it's
true.
Fine.
It's not like we're like, oh, did I accidentally? No, I meant to put this out there. So we're going to do that when we get back. We're going to break in about a minute and 20 seconds. And I think we're going to check the lines. We're going to have Mayor Ted Becker calling in about the Christmas parade. And then we have Al Frantic. I know he's moving around the TV Delmarva studio. Somewhere he's seeing through the window out there. He's going to come in, and we're going to have some music with that. I'll probably get some feedback on holiday film.
Yeah, we can get his.
Yeah, from everybody. Why not? Colin, what's your favorite holiday picture? Do you have one?
We're throwing you in here, man.
Yeah, just suddenly throwing you in nothing.
Well, it's something even older than the last one. Miracle on 34th Street, I think, is probably my absolute favorite.
That's great.
The original.
The
remake was pretty good, but the
remake
original
was solid too. But the original is wonderful.
Natalie Wood, right?
Yes.
And the original Maureen O'Sullivan.
Maureen O'Hara.
O'Hara. That's right. The redhead.
Who was the Santa Claus?
The Santa Claus was. Yeah, we got to look that up. Unless some smart person out there beats us to our
Richard Attenborough.
Oh, hey, that must be our outro music. Gives us a chance to figure out who the Santa was in Miracle on 42nd Street.
Came in real smooth.
Real smooth. Hey, everybody, don't go anywhere. I'm your host, Michael Sprouse. You're on Coastal A&E. We'll be right back.
We'd like to Jim Weller here talking to you about sheds, Amish-made sheds, many shapes and styles and colors, with vinyl siding, with brick on the front, whatever you may need. We've got a great selection. We've got the best prices around. They include delivery. We also sell chicken coops, dog kennels, gazebos, and Amish-made vinyl swing sets, and all of those include delivery to your property. So check us out on Route 13 in Bridgeville. Like us on Facebook. Look us up at wellers.com. Call me at 337-8228, and let's see what we can do to help. everybody, Jim Weller here, and I'd like to talk to you about utility trailers. New ones, used ones, open and enclosed, landscape trailers, car trailers, equipment trailers, dump trailers, tow dollies, aluminum trailers, vendor trailers. If you need a utility trailer, we need to talk. We offer easy financing, we take in trades, we've been in business now for like 44 years, and we'd like the opportunity to earn your business. So shop around, but when you're ready to lay the cash on the table, come see me, Jim Weller, at Weller's in Bridgeville. I look forward to seeing you.
This is Sea Talk, ocean news from the University of Delaware. Delaware faces significant challenges from coastal storms and flooding. Sea level rise and intensifying storms promise to increase these impacts in the future, but coastal residents are already dealing with these hazards. Delaware Sea Grant, the Sustainable Coastal Communities Initiative, and others at the University of Delaware created the Delaware Resilience Awareness Program, or DELRAP, to engage the public in documenting and helping others to learn about the ways intensifying storms and flooding are already affecting Delawareans. Through a series of workshops, DELRAP shared information with community members and invited them to contribute personal experiences through both stories and photos for a digital storytelling project. This is Sea Talk, a public service announcement from the University of Delaware, the Delaware Sea Grant College Program, and this station.
No problem. Okay.
All right. Talking about. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Music to masterpieces. We feature fascinating guests from all walks of the arts.
Oh,
okay. I'm not sure.
We're on TV Delmarva.
Got it. Okay. We got like 26 seconds.
So, spend an hour in the House of Sprouse on Coastal A&E every Saturday morning at 11 on Delaware 105.9 and take a jump into the creative side of the surf.
Go where the
2
locals
minutes.
go.
Longer.
Yellowfin's Bar and Grill in Long Neck and West Fenwick Island. Dine from a full menu featuring the freshest local seafood and daily specials. Dig into their famous tuna nachos. Nobody makes them better. And believe me, they've tried. Enjoy happy hour daily and live entertainment on their outside deck in Long Neck. For light fare, lunch, or dinner, it's Yellowfin's Bar and Grill, Route 24 Long Neck or Route 54, just a mile west of Harris Teeter, West Fenwick, where you become a local.
Have you ever heard the term elder law and thought, that doesn't apply to me? After all, what is elder law really? Elder law is a specialized area of legal planning meant to guide any adult through lifetime planning, end-of-life planning, and asset protection planning. At the root of elder law is estate planning. For many, the concept seems limited to signing a series of lengthy legalistic documents. At Procino Wells and Woodland, our approach is much different. To us, a true estate plan is much more than documents. There should be goals of planning for long-term care, providing for loved ones, and avoiding probate, all within the outcome of completing your plan. I'm Leslie DePietro, one of the attorneys at Procino Wells and Woodland. We take great pride in helping Maryland and Delaware families plan today to protect their families tomorrow.
Procino Wells and Woodland is a local estate planning and elder law firm with offices in Seaford, Lewis, and now open in Berlin, Maryland. For more information, visit their website, pwwlaw.com.
Let Del One help you ride into the holiday season with a Del One Black Friday auto loan with no teaser rates. These low rates are valid for credit scores of 640 and above. This amazing auto loan promotion has been extended until December 15th for 2014 and newer personal cars and trucks. Check out the low rates and get more info by stopping into any branch location. Visit del-1.org or call at 302-739-4496. Conditions and restrictions apply. Rates and terms are subject to change. Equal opportunity lender.
Time is running out on your 2019 vision benefits and FSA dollars, but the insurance experts at My Eye Doctor, Doctors of Optometry, are here to help. Schedule an eye exam and try a new look. We welcome all insurances. Visit myeyedr.com.
To buy your home, you became a house hunting ace, learned about loans, scoured neighborhoods, and asked the right questions. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The following program is a paid commercial presentation.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. Next year all our troubles will be out of sight.
Isn't that peaceful and lovely? Isn't that nice? Do you like that? Yeah. Well, of course, this is the rendition. This is from.
It's fine.
Gosh.
You're doing fine. You're doing
I'm totally derailed.
Yeah,
This is from Meet Me in St. Louis, the number 5 on my list of great. That's the lovely voice of Judy Garland singing to Margaret O'Brien.
That's great.
I'm happy to say that we do have on the phone the esteemed mayor of Lewis, Delaware, Mayor Ted Becker, is going to talk about the Christmas parade. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, Michael.
So good to hear you.
Great to be here. Thank you very much.
Hey, so before, I know we're very excited about the Lewis Christmas Parade, of course, is tonight, and Rob and I were talking about it.
Ooh, we're going to put him on the spot?
Yes.
I'm excited about this.
Very excited about the parade.
Here it goes.
So it seems bigger and better every year. Can you give us a little insight as to what we can expect this year?
Well, tonight is just going to be a fabulous parade. The weather is absolutely perfect for a parade. It's feeling very seasonal and very clear, and it should be a wonderful parade. It is the 88th annual Lewis Christmas Parade, and it will step off in front of the Lewis School on Savannah Road at 5 o'clock. And they'll start assembling around 4. So if you're coming into town, probably best to avoid Savannah Road after 4 o'clock, but come on in, where the parade is always a big hit. It's probably about a little over 100 entries this year. Probably take about an hour and a half for the parade to run its course down Savannah Road and turn on to 2nd Street and come down 2nd Street to Market Street before it concludes. Always an exciting time. Many floats, many marchers, all the different communities, many of the volunteer organizations in the town will have individual displays and individual entries into the parade. So it's really an exciting time, and it does get bigger every year. And one of the things that we've been trying to do over the last several years is encourage people to add sound. And, of course, all of that has gotten better. So we have one marching band in the parade, but always with all the floats and everything, we have a lot more sound to be added. So it's always a fun time.
Absolutely. And thank you for giving us a little insight to that. It's one of my favorite events. And I think if anyone wanted to experience the whole joy of small town Christmas, the Lewis Christmas Parade is definitively right there. Mm-hmm. Rob, you've covered it for a while.
I have. I covered it 3 years ago, and I'm covering it again tonight.
That's
so
right.
I gotta interview with Jeff Freed to start it.
It is the quintessential small town parade. I don't think you could find a parade any better than this any place in the country.
I agree. Now, Mr. Mayor, are you in the parade usually, or are you at the there's an area where they have the MC of the parade and they sort of give a wonderful comment to the floats as they come by?
Well, I will be marching in the parade this week or today, along with members of City Council, and we'll be in front of the parade, the first group of people that will come down the street. I have announced the parade in the past, but this year I'll be marching in the parade along with members of council. So we'll be there. Jim Smith, the former president of the Chamber of Commerce, will be announcing the parade this year. He does a great job. That'll be right there at Swannondale Park, behind the Swannondale Museum. So if you want to see right at the reviewing stand, that's where that'll be, along with the judges. And that should be a fun time. The judges will have a tough time making a decision, I suspect, this year because of all the entries and all the excitement about getting into the parade.
I agree, and every year the floats get very impressive. I remember that when I think the first parade I saw, it was probably close to 20 years ago, and it was very sweet. It was lovely, but the floats have gotten more enhanced in the parade since then. Fortunately for us all, the enjoyment of us all.
Ever since the Shell Brothers just upped the ante with everything.
I think that's sort of like skyrocketed everybody. But you know what? That type of artistic competition is a good thing for a parade. So
Ted, you're going to be like marching in the parade. Will there be any kind of dance, any kind of baton on your end? I'm just asking because I want to be ready with the camera. That's all. I just want to be ready.
That's it. We can have a bag of candy, right? That they sort of toss the candy. The kids get very excited about that. So
anybody who needs a sweet, we'll have plenty of sweets that'll be passed out.
That's
right.
I should
mention that Jeffrey Freed, the former president of BB Hospital, is the Grand Marshal of the parade this year. He and his wife Sherry will be in the parade, and they'll be right behind us, or right in front of us, actually, in the parade. So
that's really cool.
He'll be there.
I actually just set up the interview with him for the parade on my way over here.
Oh,
and
right.
Jeff was more than willing to talk to me, so that's nice.
Fantastic.
That'll be great. And there's like a tree lighting afterwards too, right? Isn't there more after the parade?
Right. When the parade concludes, we gather again at Zwanadale Park, this time on the Kings Highway side of Zwanadale Park, where we will light the better than 30-foot Christmas tree that was donated by the Coors family and is installed there in the park. And Jeff Freed and his wife will join us for the lighting of the tree. Also, there'll be a carol sing around the tree before we actually do the lighting.
Fantastic.
So it's a fun time, and again, a perfect night to come out and enjoy all the festivities. This tree is become a tradition with us. We have another tree that we're growing that will eventually replace it, but we continue to use cut trees right now, and this one is a beauty.
Fantastic. Well, we can't wait to see it. Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you for taking, I know you have a lot going on down there today with all the excitement in the parade. Thank you very much for taking the time out to give us a shout out. We all really appreciate it.
No problem. I'm happy to join you, and if you're out and about early, the Hal Lewis Historic Society annual house tour is going on right as we speak, and it will wrap up at 4 o'clock, so there's still opportunity to take advantage of that if you haven't had a chance.
Festive time in Lewis today and this afternoon, this evening.
When I was driving up here, there's a lot of lines at certain houses. Yes.
Wonderful houses again this year, and they've all got lines. But,
fantastic.
Well worth taking time to see.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ted.
Thank you very much. Okay.
All right.
See you tonight.
There you go. Indeed. Well, that was that night. It's going to be.
We didn't get to ask his favorite movie. I really want to work that in.
Oh gosh, I wanted to do that.
I know.
Oh, I got taken away with Wonderful Christmas. We'll just have to pick one and say, oh, hey, this is the mayor's favorite movie.
His favorite movie is Krampus.
That could be.
That's his favorite movie.
That's gotta be it.
Let's just say that. Good choice, Ted.
Good choice. So listen, before we're going to get Al Franken. Not Al Franken. I'm sorry, Al Frantic in here. I like Al Franken. He's a good guy.
I wish he was still around.
Al Franken is not coming out on the air today, unfortunately. I got Al Frantic instead. Let's do one more Christmas movie before we pop him in here. So what is the third one? The third one, right?
The third one's up. All right. So for me, mine is A Christmas Story.
Christmas Story, brilliant, phenomenal. Could have easily been number one on any list.
It could have been for probably most
a classic.
people.
So you mentioning earlier that Elf has become sort of this lexiconographic classic film, but Christmas Story could easily be. I mean,
sure. No,
right?
Doesn't is it like TBS plays it for 24 hours,
like
something like that?
Yeah.
I mean. And you talk about a success story that came out of nowhere because it flopped when it came out. Like, no one saw it. It just died. But it got on cable, and it just slowly built this great following.
And it's a brilliant film. It's hilarious.
And to a shout out to ClearSpace, I actually went to see some of their because they're doing a play. They're doing the play version of it, and it was great.
Really?
Yes, I
loved it. That's good to know.
Yeah,
very good to know because there's so many the lamp, the leg, fragile. There's all those awful dogs, hound dogs, eat the turkey.
Dogs.
That's the tree. That's everything of you just go from one funny, memorable scene to the next in that film.
So here's a connection between Elf and A Christmas Story. So the head elf. Pharaoh, but the head elf of the whole Santa's workshop is Ralphie.
What?
Yeah, that's him. He's the girl, He's actually more of a director and producer now, but Jon Favreau was friends with him. It's like, can you be in this movie? And
fascinating.
You see those film movie. Those crazy blue eyes are still there.
That's right. Yeah, it's amazing. Hey, are we going to be able to get Al in here very quickly? I think get him set up, but you're going to continue to talk, but
sure.
Someone out there outside the booth is going to tap him on the shoulder. He's going to get in here and get set up so we can get him to play a tune or two before we go strictly to the live stream feed. My third, we were just talking about this, A Christmas Carol, but from 1951. That's very important. Yes. I think it's got to be named because there's several versions out there.
Is that the oldest version? There must have been one in the.
I think there was one in the 30s,
right?
which is a good one. But 1950, in my opinion, the one from 51 with Alistair Sim, Kathleen Harrison, Mervyn Jones, directed by Brian Desmond Hurst. I'm not familiar with more of his work, but
I don't know many Hurst films.
Not many Hurst. But this is just such a wonderfully British version. And as we were saying during the break, one of my favorite aspects of this film is the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. Man, that's some creepy. The shot was
just the hand. hand, right?
Yeah, it's just like this silent skeletal hand pointing towards his empty, tell me, spirit, who lies there? That I course reenact the kids representing famine and pestilence. It's very intense stuff. People fighting over his draperies. These angry charwomen cursing his name. So that's the thing that got him back on the straight and narrow, man. He saw that. He's like, okay, I can change this. What time is it? Does it still have time?
Is there still time?
Still time.
Did I miss it?
It's Christmas morning.
I won't do a British accent for people. I'll keep that under the wraps.
Get me the biggest goose. Well, whatever. So we know that movie. So that was my...
You random child. Take this money.
That's right. You tossing you money. The street. See you later,
I trust
sucker.
you now. Sure.
Things are different back then, right? 1951 in London, old London town. Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Michael. How are you?
I'm glad. Welcome here, everyone. You have Al Frantic. I called you Al Franken a moment ago.
I was going to say, what has this got to do with me, Al Franken?
You have to admit, there's similar.
You got some bad pictures in the closet that just came out.
I can't be the first guy who's ever called you Al Franken. Performing tonight, Al Franken here.
Yeah.
So you are. It's the first time actually you and I've met, but I've seen you perform before with the band.
Yes.
And it was a great show. It was at the Robert Ale House, which I'm a big fan of that place. Shout out to Adam and the folks at the Robert Ale House.
That's my electric band, the Al Franken Band.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I knew there was a connection there somewhere. But
when Al Franken went electric.
Yeah, like Dylan.
You were doing at the time. You were doing some covers, and I think they were sort of pop hits from the 60s, but you were doing a really clever way of making them, in my opinion, sort of original contemporary version.
I kind of have to do that because I never play a song the same way once.
Oh, that's interesting.
But we do put our own spin on things and try to pick, although we do cover music, we try to pick tunes that are not obscure, but people recognize,
Sure.
Go,
that worked really well.
I've never heard a band cover that before,
Well, the last time I saw you was really cool. I covered The Fall in the Milton. And you were doing the theremin contest?
The theremin contest.
That was really cool, man.
Oh, my God. That was so much fun. Those kids had a blast.
Yeah, that was really neat.
No idea what a theremin was.
Yeah, it's like the old sci-fi sound effects.
Yeah. Like here comes the alien ship. Well, it's cool.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a movie with Ray Milland? I think it's called Lost Weekend.
Oh, yes.
About the alcoholic. Yeah. And every time he sees a bottle, it's theremin music.
Very cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not at that point yet. No, I'm kidding. That's a very interesting. So I'm just going to walk around with a theremin wine. It's like, hey, we have to go get some wine. No. It's so cool. I'm good. And in the movie, one of my favorite films, the Day the Earth Stood Still.
Absolutely.
With Patricia Neal.
Yeah.
Which is, have you seen? This
yes,
is a great.
I've seen the original.
So the number 2 on my list, The Homecoming, A Christmas Story, same actress, Patricia Neal.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm like, her. Yeah. So that's a great movie, and they do that sound when
it's all
he
through
comes
the
down.
film. Any 50s sci-fi movie.
Yeah. So I guess anytime we hear that sound, if we're just walking on the street, like, here's the end, because that means the aliens are coming.
Yeah. I met a very good. He's become a very good pal of mine in Milton, where I live. This guy Mal Meehan. And he's a synthetic music expert, like a real aficionado. And he was highly involved in building the Bob Moog. He says Moog. He corrects me if I say Moog. He says the Bob Moog Museum.
I always thought it was Moog.
I did too.
It must be the Americanized way. But Mal is a Brit, and it's Moog, man.
He's the illustrator, right? Is he the illustrator?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That guy's very
cool.
But
he can actually ring out a tune on the theremin. Like, I just use it like a sound effect. Yeah. It's a very exacting thing to actually hit notes on those things, and he can do it. He was doing the Beach Boys on.
That's impressive.
On mine.
Nice.
Another.
Not the Beach
famous,
Boys. He was doing the Star Trek.
Oh, sure.
Even though that's a woman's voice. He was.
Yeah, that thing. Right on.
So he's a really cool guy.
I think before we definitely want you to play Tim. We got like 10 minutes left on this part of the broadcast. Then we're going to go to our live stream only thing. But we got one more movie that we should throw it out before, and then we can just have free talk. Whatever.
Oh, okay. Are we doing
our number one?
Okay.
Film.
Are we doing the number one?
Well, we're there.
We're already there.
Oh wait, no. Did we do number 2?
No, we haven't.
We did not do number 2. My number 2 is A Christmas Story, which we just talked about.
Sure. And mine is Christmas Vacation.
There you go.
Yes.
So these came out roughly around the same time. They're both comedies, fun.
Yeah, Christmas Vacation is just one of those things that I watch every year, and it just makes me and puts me in a much better mood than I was before
Chase
I started.
was a nicer person, maybe. I don't know. Better.
Oh, he's an awful person, but
I know.
I just
has it aged well? Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's still. So
Paul's like, it's aged great, man.
Fun fact for the audience: so there's a scene where he's losing his mind and just screaming at his whole family. Mm-hmm. The only way that he could remember all the terrible things he was saying, that everyone was holding up a cue card of different insults that he had to say. So when you see him pointing and going like this all around, that's him reading different insults from everyone else in the crowd.
Smart.
Yes.
Clever. How to make that direction work. Do you have a favorite holiday film?
Absolutely. It has to be Bad Santa.
I thought about Bad Santa.
It's a classic.
I mean, that
That's better every
year. Sling Blade are in my top 10. So it's got to be Bad Santa.
Big Billy Bob Thornton man.
Oh, yeah.
Billy Bob Thornton.
I met him when he was in Dewey. Yeah, it was actually, he came in the restaurant we were in, and my wife goes, there goes Billy Bob Thornton. So me and one of the ladies that was with us having dinner, we chased him down. He was great. He took pictures. He was in town with his band.
Nice. Well, I think they played at Bottle and Cork.
Yeah. We were there for that.
Right on.
So
nice.
Billy Bob.
So we got about 7 more minutes. Do you have a tune, and then
I brought you a song. It's not a holiday song.
It doesn't have to be.
And I brought my crutch because I'm getting old and I can't remember lyrics.
Well, what I want to do before we run out of time in this first hour, while we're still on the radio, 105.9, is I want you to play a song, and then we're going to do our number one song, and then we're going to go into the live stream. But I promised you some airtime, and I want you to
cool,
have
man.
it. So let's hear what you're going to do.
So anyway, I'm kind of a radio guy from way back. I was the general manager and chief engineer at Rutgers at my when I went to college.
Okay,
right and I'm fascinated by this place because it's your classic Radio Shack with the tower outside, guy wires. It's so cool. Even though I understand that's not your transmitter, right? So anyway, I'm going to play a song that my buddy Mike Fletcher suggested this last night. We were playing at arenas, and it's relevant. And it's topical, and it has to do with media and the way things are nowadays. It's a song by Elvis.
Interesting. All right. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen. Al Franken.
All right, Al Franken. I was tuning in the shine of a late night dial, doing anything my radio advised. With every one of those late night stations playing songs that bring a tear to my eye. I was seriously thinking about hiding a receiver when the switch broke 'cause it's old. They're saying things that I can hardly believe. They really think we're getting out of control. Radio is a sound salvation. Radio is cleaning up the nation. And they say you better listen to the voice of reason. But they don't give you any trust because they think that it's treason. So you had better do as you were told. You better listen to the radio. I like this part. I wanna bite the hand that feeds me. I wanna bite that hand so badly. I wanna make them wish they'd never seen me. Some of my friends sit around every evening and they worry about the times ahead. But everybody else is overwhelmed by indifference and the promise of an early bed. You better shut up or get cut up. They don't want to talk about it. Only inches on the reel to reel. The radio is in the hands of such a lot of fools trying to anesthetize the way that you feel. Radio to sound salvation. Radio is cleaning up the nation. And they say you better listen to the voice of reason. But they don't give you any trust because they think that it's treason. And you had better do as you were told. You better listen to the radio. Wonderful radio. Marvelous radio. Wonderful radio. Radio, radio. Radio, radio. Radio, radio.
Yeah!
I brought
Elvis
a radio
Costello.
song.
When you said Elvis, I'm what?
When you said Elvis, I was like, I hope it's this Elvis. And you played it.
It was.
That's one of my favorite. I'm a huge Elvis Costello fan.
I've been told I look like him.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe a change of glasses. I can see that.
I broke up with a girl in high school because she made fun of that song.
What?
Really?
Yes. Like that was like one of the reasons I was like, she was like, oh, it was the I hate the hand, the hand that bite,
Yeah. I want to bite the hand
That's my favorite.
And she's just like, what is this? Is terrible. And it's just that the box was like clicked off in my head. We're like, yep, that's it.
Such a great song. We need like a great keyboard. That's a great.
Oh yeah.
Love that. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
That was great.
You're welcome.
Because I'm like, Elvis.
Got to get the attractions in here.
Definitely props out to my buddy Mike who suggested I play that for you.
That's
I'm glad you did that. That was great.
Yes, that's the song.
That's an awesome.
So that's fun. So that gives us because we get like 3 minutes left while we're still on the air on Delaware 105.9 FM. But you can stick around for a whole hour. Man. You're going to be playing some more songs. We're going to have some more fun back and forth. We're all going to have a little back and forth. A lot of fun. We get a whole other hour, but you have to go to either facebook.com/coastalae or TV Delmarva, facebook.com/TV Delmarva or tvdelmarva.com. You can see this live stream. You can interact. You can leave comments and give us a call still if you want. You can do that too. It's been a really fun show so far today. So why not join us for the other hour?
Absolutely.
There we go.
Right on. Yeah, you're going to play more music, more surprise songs like that. That was great. That wasn't a holiday. That doesn't have to be a holiday song. That's okay.
I got some.
I got in a holiday mood when I heard that. I first saw Elvis Costello. I want to say it was on a show called Night Flight. It was probably 1970 something. Great show. And then I saw him on Saturday Night Live, and he was very kind. They were like, "That's the first and last time you're going to be on SNL," because he
changed it.
He changed it to
radio.
Yes, he did. Yeah. And so great little story. I want to say for some reason that seemed like a holiday time period in my head, but who knows? It was the 70s. It could have been a lot of things going on. But it was a great song. I'm glad you do that.
Cool, man.
We just got a couple more minutes here. Did we? And you said your favorite holiday film was Bad Santa. And we still got our number one holiday film before we go off the air for the first hour. What is yours, Rob?
Mine is Scrooge, the Bill Murray version. That is mine. That's the one that always gets me. It's the closest one. I like the darkness of it. It's a little Tim Burton-esque, but it's not.
That's good. It's classic Bill Murray.
Yeah, it's classic Bill Murray, and just that last scene with him with the audience is just. I kind of cry a little bit every time, so you can hear my voice just crack there a little bit.
That's very
cool thing about that. Totally improvised.
That's brilliant, man.
He called Richard Donner, the director, the day before. It's like, look, I got an idea. Have all the cameras ready. Get the 5-camera thing going. I'm just going to come in with something. And they had a very structured thing.
Wow.
And he just came in and just did that whole speech at the end.
That's amazing.
Like off script and his own.
Bill Murray's definitely one of my favorites. And he made a movie. It's not a holiday movie, but it's another movie that's in my top 10. It's called The Life Aquatic with Steven Zissou.
That's a great film.
The Anderson film. Yes.
That is so good. And David Bowie songs throughout played flamenco on a nylon string guitar. That's such a cool movie.
We've got like 45 seconds left, I believe, if that's the correct time. So listen, folks, thank you for joining me. My number one film before we hit up there, It's a Wonderful Life. Everyone,
sure.
It's going to be the top. It's one of my. We'll talk about more about that in the next hour that's coming up. Again, join us online, tvdelmarva.com. I hope you guys had a great go to the Lewis Christmas break tonight. If you're going out and about, be safe and careful. Do something creative this week, folks. You'll be glad you did. I'm your host, Michael Sprouse. I'll be back here next Saturday on Coastal A&E. Have a good one.
Kent Pharmacy in Milford, Sussex.
This is Sea Talk, ocean news from the University of Delaware. Delaware's low-lying elevation makes the state especially vulnerable to flooding from storms and sea level rise, particularly since no part of the state is more than 8 miles from tidal waters. To address these challenges, Delaware Sea Grant and partners from around the state created the Resilient and Sustainable Communities League, also known as RASCL, a collaborative network that provides technical expertise to Delaware communities in order to increase their ability to adapt, mitigate, and respond to environmental changes, including climate change. The third annual Rascal Summit will be held this month. Learn more at decgrant.org/coastal-hazards. This is Sea Talk, a public service announcement from the University of Delaware, the Delaware Sea Grant College Program, and this station.
Our drinking water doesn't come only from rivers, lakes, and streams. Underground aquifers are also critical, providing more than 30% of the world's freshwater supply. Did you know that vast freshwater aquifers also exist under the ocean floor? Some of this water could be used to enhance offshore oil production. In the future, these offshore reserves might also be tapped for agriculture or city supply. At the University of Delaware, researchers using numerical models have shown how exploiting these undersea aquifers could threaten the fresh water available to coastal communities because the resource offshore is connected to the resource onshore. What's more, this groundwater extraction could cause the land to sink, leading to other problems. UD research hopes to inform policy decisions about the use of this unique water resource before adverse impacts occur.
Jim Weller here, and let's talk trailers. Dump trailers, hydraulic dump trailers, big ones, little ones, different color ones. Man, I got them. We take trades, we offer financing. We'd like the opportunity to sell you a dump trailer if you need one. We sell B-Wise and Brymar, the best trailers in the industry, and we've got the selection right here on Route 13 in Bridgeville. Phone number 337-8228, Wellers.com on the web. Like us on Facebook, ask your friends about us, tell your friends about us, and let's make a deal on a trailer today.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-983-6761. 888-983-6761. 888-983-6761. 888-983-6761.
Everybody, Jim Weller here, and I'd like to invite you to my store, Weller's Utility Trailers, on Route 13 in Bridgeville. Now, I've got trailers, new ones, used ones, open and enclosed, landscape trailers, equipment trailers, dump trailers, new ones, used ones, easy financing, trades welcome. All we need is the opportunity to meet you and greet you and earn your business. We got a great sales staff here, lots of product and inventory. All we need is you to make a deal. So stop on into Weller's on Route 13 in Bridgeville, and let's see what we can do to put a deal together for you.
Our drinking water doesn't come only from rivers, lakes, and streams. Underground aquifers are also critical, providing more than 30% of the world's freshwater supply. Did you know that vast freshwater aquifers also exist under the ocean floor? Some of this water could be used to enhance offshore oil production. In the future, these offshore reserves might also be tapped for agriculture or city supply. At the University of Delaware, researchers using numerical models have shown how exploiting these undersea aquifers could threaten the fresh water available to coastal communities because the resource offshore is connected to the resource onshore. What's more, this groundwater extraction could cause the land to sink, leading to other problems. UD Research hopes to inform policy decisions about the use of this unique water resource before adverse impacts occur.
I always poke a little fun at that little musical intro. Like, it feels like I need to have a shopping cart in one hand and a martini in the other. Like I'm shopping for toasters somewhere.
It's kind of campy and
I like
cool.
it.
No, I like it.
It's lounge lizardy.
It's got a nice...
But it's like music.
We're just about to talk an NPR vibe, you know?
Is
Let's
that
talk
it? Jazz
about
plus jazz equals jazz.
NPR.
Do you remember that? Jazz plus
There's a
jazz
woman on NPR. She pronounces station
NPR.
like this. She goes, station. Station.
I think I know you're
My wife and I look at each other. What the hell is that? Station.
Thank you for supporting the station. Yeah. Hey, listen, we're on the air too. So we're back. This is the live stream portion of Coastal A&E, courtesy of TV Delmarva, which I'm a big fan of.
Judging by that intro, it's a little bit looser.
It is.
Yeah,
yes, it is. It is looser. Right. So. FCC regs, be gone, out the window. No, it's not like that. No, you can't do that. I'm kidding about that. Totally kidding about that. But it's less structured, whatever that means. Whatever you think that would be.
So just keep the F-bombs in the back pocket for now?
Yeah, I've been, I had the A&E report on a local TV station here for close to 5 years, and that's still around, but not with that particular station. But we would occasionally do best of videos, which were fun, blooper videos. And there was one that we did, and in the transitions between scenes, what we realized later was sort of a mistake. We just did this boop sound so you would know, but it looks like every fourth word out of my mouth. And the producer like, we can't. Why? There was problems from the top when that aired, but they all get over it. But it made it sound like I was
just be ready on that.
It gave you street cred.
That's
Mike.
right.
It really did.
That's right. Yeah,
he's not afraid to use drop an F-bomb
on camera. It doesn't care.
And the comedy rule is once you bleep it, it's a lot more funny than an actual curse word.
Yeah,
if you bleep it, when Arrested Development went to Netflix, it didn't bleep out the curse words anymore. Not nearly as funny.
Interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, Ren and Stimpy, the same thing. They did those ones where they could. Yeah, it was terrible. I liked it better when it was all innuendo.
Because the mind will doesn't like a void. I make that totally a vacuum.
On a weird
that's a whole different thing.
Ren and Stimpy note, I took my kid eating McDonald's. He's playing in the children area. And all they do is play children's songs, and they played Happy Happy Joy Joy.
Yeah.
And I forgot
Stinky Whizzle Teats.
I forgot how dark that song is. The part, the lyric where it's like, I told you to shoot, but you didn't believe me.
When I was in business up in Jersey, one of our clients was this lady, Jerry Laybourne. She was the president of Nickelodeon. She told me John Cristofalusi was the most difficult person to work with, the Ren and Stimpy guy. She wanted a children's program, and he kept delivering Ren and Stimpy. And my friends and I, we would go, my friend's apartment in Brooklyn, have watching parties every time a new one came out, bunch of adults. It was never made for kids.
Yeah, I remember watching it in junior high when it first came on. I was like, what?
What is this? Yeah. Not appropriate for you. Hey, I got to give a shout out to my friend Jeff West, who's posted something very funny on Facebook, which I think it's a little saying. It says, no matter how old you are, an empty Christmas wrapping tube is still fun to bonk someone over the head with, which I think is perfect.
True.
It's true.
That is true.
Clonk.
Did you see the one that says wrap up a bunch of empty boxes and put them under the tree, and every time your kid acts up, throw one in the fire? I like that one.
Oh, that's
I love that.
That is wonderfully cruel.
Morning, my high school yearbook picture said cynic. They called me Cynical Al in there, so I'm just heads up.
It's scary.
Here we go. That's where it's going. Love it.
Krampus to come in and throw your boxes into the Yuletide log. So you're going to play. Well, let's give a shout out first of all to your eclectic shop in Milton.
It's eclectic, all right.
Yeah.
Frantic Frets Music and Antiques. So we do basically I sell a lot of guitars. I have guitars, amplifiers, basses, but I will sell anything that comes through the door if I can. You know, my stuff is, I call it gently used, and everybody. And I have some really nice guitars and stuff in the shop, and people say to me, "Where do you get these things?" You know, and now that I'm in business, I do, you know, your classic buy, sell, and trade. And a lot of it finds me. You know, I get a phone call, "Do you buy guitars?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, come on in," because you never know what's going to come through the door. You know, and it changes every day. And I do repairs, luthier work, electronics, and setups and stuff. You know, and that's
phenomenal. And where is it actually located for people who may want to stop by?
26374 Broadkill, which is Route 16. So we're actually a Milton address, even though we're not downtown in the village. So we're on the periphery there by Lockwood Self Storage. And if you're looking for my place, I always like to say it's the Ewok Village, because it's a bunch of like weird little buildings and decks and all stuck around like this. You know, it looks like a little Ewok Village. So you know you found it when you see the Ewok Village. You're there. So stop in and see. Like, we have so many musicians come in. A lot of them don't buy anything. They just sit around and talk to me like this.
So and I'm playing everyone sits around, jam sessions.
Sometimes we get whole bands come in, hook up, and they.
That sounds like it. Yeah, I'm going to definitely go check that out.
I'm living the life now.
Because I've been, you know, I would drive by and go, what is, and you had a sign
I had a sign there for like
opened.
2 or 3 years that said Future Homo.
That's right.
Future Homo.
That's right. Like I say, what is this? God, that's signs. And now here you are.
People say that exact thing sometimes when they come in. You know, I've been going to work for 10 years, and I saw that sign. I'm like, oh, nothing's ever going to be there. And then boom, there we were.
See, that's great.
Yeah, man.
Do you remember that? Do you ever remember seeing that sign?
I do not. But
I'm like, what is this place? It's coming.
You know what that sign was
what
made
is this
of?
Place?
A side note: the guy I bought that property from made that sign originally out of a bed headboard. He made 2 of them. They were made out of, he thought he was being crafty, but, you know, like bed headboard wood is not meant to be out in the weather and stuff. And the winds blow across the cornfields at like 8,000 miles an hour. Just blew that boop away, you know.
Right on. Well, but it worked.
Yeah, man.
And now here you are.
Here I am.
I got a question for you. Man. So in your shop, this is kind of, I'm just going on a lot of lists right now.
Okay.
What's your favorite weird piece of equipment? Because we were talking about Thermans earlier.
Theremin, named after Lev Leon Theremin. He was a Russian guy who actually became a KGB agent.
Wow.
It's the coolest story.
That's really cool.
The story of Theremin is like the coolest story. He was a brilliant guy. And so you want to know
what's your favorite weird piece of
stuff that I have in the shop? Right, it's got to be
just
the
so
Thermins.
It comes in like, let me see that thing.
I have this. I don't even know what the name of it is. And it's not in the store right now because it's in heinous condition. But these people came in and traded me this really esoteric, weird stringed bowed instrument that kind of looks like like an auto harp kind of thing.
Okay.
But I mean, it really looks like it's from 1812 or something
you say
like
it's
that.
Bowed, a string?
And it's intact. All the strings are, yes. I wish I could remember what the name of it is. I wouldn't say that's my favorite, but I'd say that's the weirdest thing I have right in now.
Well, have you
never
attempted to play
If I could remember what it's called and told you guys, you'd be like, I never heard of that. You know?
Yeah.
So that's the
we
weirdest
can make
thing.
up a name at this point. Yes.
But the weirdest thing, you know, that I have that I like to noodle around with are the theremins, without a doubt. I have 3 theremins right now. None of them are for sale, actually. I have 2 Moog. Did you hear that, Mal? Moog theremins. And I have one that I built from a circuit board.
Right
put it in a cigar box. And that one actually sounds great, you know.
Very cool.
I built one. We have another local guy, acoustic guitar player, Jeff Evans.
I don't know if I may
well, he plays around. He does the acoustic guitar singer thing. I built one for him for his kids to use at Halloween, like in the garage, and scare people with. Yeah,
awesome.
So if you want to see, I'll do things like that. You come in, you want me to build you a theremin, I will build you a theremin.
Have you ever played with one on stage as part of
sometimes with my cover band doing obviously Led Zeppelin? You know, you know,
perfect.
Yeah, man.
So you have a gig coming up. Well, you said that tonight you're playing tonight.
Tonight I am the live music entertainment for the tree lighting ceremony at Broadkill Beach.
Oh, very
so if you
nice.
wander down to Broadkill Beach, I'll be. They set up a stage. Like, they're really nice people, first of all, and I did this the first time last year, but it was like I said before, it was like 39 degrees below zero Celsius. You know, it was so cold. But they built me this stage out of an old trailer, and it had sides and everything, so the wind wasn't blowing. You know, they do it up right.
Nice. Yeah.
It's right by the store there. The
Broadkill
store. Yeah. Yeah, but it
so
kind
like a
of
fun
the
little
stage looks like a
fun
duck blind
gathering, right? Yeah,
I love that place has never changed.
They also have a little 4th of July parade action down there.
Really?
They do it once.
Yeah, that community is really cool. Nice people.
It's sort of low key, but it's the 4th
and
of July.
I love those beaches down there. The
they're
Bay
beautiful
beaches are awesome. Yeah.
Very nice indeed. Well, so, and on New Year's Eve, you and the entire band are playing at Gilligan's.
Gilligan's, yeah. I
the
think
new location.
I think that's an RSVP thing, so you're going to have to get a reservation to come in.
Okay.
They're just my wife and Cheryl, the owner. They're still hashing out the details. But it's if you want to go. You definitely got to make a reservation. I'm
good
sure.
to know. Well, but one of the nice things about it, there's a lot of options for people around here New Year's Eve, and most of them are restaurant based. And you call and you make a reservation.
Well, Gilligan's is awesome. Actually, they're in Milton, and they had a few hiccups when they first opened, but they're really proactive people, and they straightened it all out, man. And now they got a rocking business, delicious food, and they have live music. Any place that'll embrace live music is good in my book.
Sure.
And they're super nice to me, Mary, of course, and we love going there. And it's like a half mile from my house, so if I get blotto, I can stagger home with my guitar.
Right. And here's my plan to get so we're talking about holiday films, but of course that opens up. We can open up many things to that. You'd mentioned holiday tunes, because you're a musician and you're a filmmaker, and I just sort of like to report on all the above. But I think we did a good job with our top 5. Normally we would have done a top 10. Well, we can still give homage to some of those movies that didn't make the cut because we were pressed for time.
Yeah, we're pressed for time. So let me put in my wife's favorite is Love Actually, which that's her favorite Christmas movie.
I've actually never seen that movie.
Really? Are you the one? Are you the person?
I've never seen that movie, but it makes a lot of people's list. Is it like it's a romantic film?
Yeah, it's done by the guy who did like 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Very British, and it also has a lot of Americans, but it's very British. It's good.
What's the holiday tie-in into the storyline?
It's just all revolves around Christmas. Like it's like 7 Christmas stories all intertwined.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right on. Around love as well.
Around love, yes.
Yeah, sounds nice, I guess. It didn't make my list. Nowhere near it.
I don't think I've ever seen it, actually.
Yeah, so there's 2 people I've never seen.
Take notes. I got to watch this.
Seen that movie. And you said yours is Bad Santa.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, I was looking. There's many online. Esquire, which is a magazine that I like. Esquire magazine has their 50 best Christmas movies. I'm not quite sure when the list was made, but I think Love Actually is on that. And then they have obscure films. A film called Metropolitan that I'm not familiar with. That's actually
I saw that in a lot of them. And I don't know it either.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. I don't know Metropolitan. Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I've seen that many times.
Who makes
a slasher movie?
Oh, that's a great.
Bring out the holidays.
Elves with chainsaws.
And then they have other films that I forget, because I haven't seen Edward Scissorhands in a long time. So this is on a list.
Again,
there's going to be some holiday tie-in to that. They say, quote, amidst the colorful suburban Christmas time landscape of Tim Burton's 1990 fantasy.
It's a wonderful film. I just don't ever think of it as like Christmas.
That they say. Yeah, so,
again, any movie that tugs at your heartstrings and makes you feel human can be considered a Christmas song. Christmas movie, yeah.
I think the last one on their list, actually, that's not true. That's the number 37. I'm curious as to what number 50 is, because these look like some pretty bad films. Number 50 is a movie called A Christmas Prince, one of Netflix's first forays in the Christmas genre. It says. I've never heard of it. Well, that's not a movie I would watch. That's like watching holiday films on the Hallmark Channel. That's just not going to happen.
Well, you got to figure every year there's about 3 holiday films that come out that hope to be like I said, Elf, that will kind of live on and keep going. Every year there's at least 3, and they tend to not be very good.
So what's this year's 3 so far?
Well, I know the first one just came out. It's called Last Christmas, and that's supposedly really bad.
Just came out in the theater.
Yeah, it just came out like a few weeks ago. Directed by Paul Feig, who usually does a great job, but I haven't seen it, but it's universally hated.
Oh wow!
It's a Wonderful Life was panned when it came out. It was so right in the dumper. They thought they were going to lose money on it, and then it just kind of took hold.
That's not just. You mentioned a movie that you watched earlier that always makes you a little dewy-eyed at a particular scene, and for me, that scene is the very end of A Wonderful Life when they all come together and start dumping money. Because I cry because that's not happening in my house.
And who doesn't love Jimmy Stewart?
They're just everything about that that scene is beautiful.
Yeah.
These characters come in and they all basically just laid out there. I wouldn't. Gloria Graham, who's great. Frank Capra. Yeah. Gloria Graham was one of my favorite B-movie actresses at that time. She did other films that pretty well known.
Was she Mary?
She was I forget what was her character's name. Violet. So she was sort of the sex pod of the town that everyone remember her. Oh, this little old thing. This one I don't care what I look like. And she ends up leaving town, and because she has to quote get out of town. They were all very tongue in cheek with how things were there. So that's when she went to Jimmy, his character. God, I'm thinking too quick here. And he gives her the money to get out of town. He's like, no questions, don't worry about it. Of course, I'm creating this. This isn't the real dialogue, and she does. But at the end, she comes back and she's like, nope, I decided against it, and here's the money back, and thank you. I'm gonna, whatever happened, with her sort of
even the hoochie girl has a holiday epiphany, right?
Yeah. They were very tough. So Frank Capra was very good. There's that particular scene where it's in the summertime. She's walking down the street in that dress, and everyone, as all the guys are oogling and goggling, and Jimmy Stewart's character. What's his character's name in the movie? George. Of course, it's George. Thank you, George. God, how can I not remember that? He's there talking to the policeman and the mailman, right? And they watch her walk by, and they're all a little bothered, by this action. And then one of the guys, I think it's the policeman, Bart, says, "Oh, I just remembered, I need to go home and see the wife." And it's like in the middle of the afternoon, they like do it all sort of. It's very interesting that they would sneak these things in the middle.
Not a movie, but one of my favorite things is the Honeymooners Christmas episode.
I've not seen that.
Yes, it's pretty good. Oh, I'm a big Honeymooners fan.
Yeah, one of these days, I'll.
Yeah.
I've not seen
Ralph, he's even bigger than your friend Shirley.
Yeah. So everyone has sort of interesting little moments that tug at them, and then I pick up useless. I know you do too. Interesting little bits of trivia about these films.
Well, yeah, because I just sprinkled everything with trivia this entire episode.
That's right.
I can't help.
But there's a lot of it in It's a Wonderful Life, for example. And I'm just going to because I read a lot of this. There's this great scene where the uncle who hits the sauce a lot. Yeah. He walks away, and you hear all these trash cans sort of they
clanking.
Clank. Well, actually, one of the extras, one of the gaffs, and a bunch of things fell over, and they just kept it in the film.
So that was like just coincidental Foley work.
Exactly is what it was.
Yeah.
And they also, I believe, invented a new type of fake snow for that movie, because before that they were using cornflakes painted white and weird asbestos.
We went down to the Christmas thing down here at Hudson Fields, and they got these. I thought they were actually like ski jump snow generators. These things make little soap suds that look like snow.
Yeah.
Soap suds come in, they float down. It looks just like snow.
It takes us real time. It's really nice. Yeah.
What happens if it starts to rain and there's soap?
It's made,
and then you put on the hot disco action.
Get out the loofah.
That's right. That's a clean gathering for all. Works really well. So, Christmas. What about Christmas tunes? You'd mentioned Christmas tunes earlier. Holiday tunes.
Favorite for me would have to be Christmas (parentheses) "Baby Please Come Home" by Darlene Love. That's my favorite go-to.
Love. Yeah, that's a great one, classic.
Kind of like I love U2's version of it too. Like I just love that song. That's
we were talking about that particular song with Keith Mack here last Saturday in particular, and that Darlene Love's rendition. I'm like, and I mentioned the phrase "the wall of sound."
It's the wall of sound. I mean,
Phil Spector.
Did Phil Spector produce that? I think that's like Phil Spector's Christmas.
It's got a Phil Spector-esque sound. Yeah, before he completely snapped, and he developed the whole wall of sound thing. Right, this is your fault.
No, the wall of sound was just a mess. It was just open mics in the room.
That's right.
And, it just worked for him. That was his trademark sound.
But it does have a very interesting. I love the whole.
All that old tube compression and everything they used in the processors. That'll never happen again. People try to reproduce those sounds, and they come close. I mean, digital technology is coming closer and closer with modeling those sounds, but still the old stuff.
It's just when that first like chord progression hits, it's just so big. Like that's like, well, this is all I'm listening to now for until it's done. Like there's nothing else.
It's a wall of sound coming towards you.
And then fast forward to 2000 whatever, and Phil's in jail for murder with crazy hair.
Crazy
and stuff,
hair.
Right?
Totally. Just kind of know what happened.
Oh,
but
man.
he was always sort of out there.
He was. And
He was
not
too
a very
greedy. He
nice
lost control of
person.
his creative muse. It just took his brain and did his hair up, and that was it. It was the end of the story with him. I find that one of the things we were talking about this last week as well. If we had to pick a song that has sort of jumped into the meme and one of the most relatively new modern classic Christmas song, has to be the Mariah Carey song, which came out 25 years ago. Which ended up
is it 25 years ago?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and I was reading a little interview with her recently about that, and she said that when they did the song, she didn't like it, and she kept saying we need this sort of sound that was similar to the Darlene Love, that Wall of Sound thing, and then that's what sort of made that song become super popular and became one of her most popular recordings. She made an insane amount of money on like $400 million, something crazy, millions of money because of this one tune.
I mean, that might be arguably the last like Christmas classic that I could think of that's it stood the test of time.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't love it, but it's one of those like it's something that is always played every year.
Exactly. So that's and when you hear it now, for me at least, it becomes one of those classic Christmas songs, even though I'm older than that song, easily. I was in my 20s when it came out.
That's a very big song in Love Actually, so, there you go.
Oh, really? So now we're going to actually see this movie, Love Actually.
I've not seen Love
interesting.
Actually. Come on,
I didn't see it. There's other, so there's certain movies I've never seen that I tell people, and they're they become apoplectic about it. Like, I've never seen E.T., and people are like, what? I've never, because at the time it came out, there was such hype about it, and I was in my 20s, early 20s then, I think, or whenever I was, I don't know how old, maybe I was in high school. I'm like, I didn't want to see this movie because it's just, everyone's like, oh, you got to see it, and it was everywhere. That was one of the films that really, at that time, it was just every marketing thing, the Reese's Pizza, was just everywhere. I got so sick of it without ever.
If it makes you feel better, I didn't like it either.
I didn't even saw it.
Oh, you didn't see it?
No, I didn't even bother to go see
it. Yours is all prejudgment. Mine is judgment. I saw it. I was like, I'm a big fan of accurate science fiction. I don't like
E.T.
I don't like Star Wars and pew pew. I don't like any of that stuff. What was a really good science fiction film? Nothing to do with Christmas. I really liked Minority Report.
That was a very good movie.
What a cool concept, and Tom Cruise. I can't stand Tom Cruise. And, he did a great job in that movie.
Yeah. And some of that is sort of crossed over.
Which one?
Have you seen Moon?
I did.
Okay, that's
Bowie's son, right?
Yeah.
That's creepy.
One of those
he's
great,
a replicant,
realistic sci-fi.
He's been replicated so many times that he doesn't know it. He just thinks he's a regular guy living on the moon,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I saw this, I don't know if you and I touched upon this last time you were on the air or not, but I was reading an article recently that there's a new film being produced right now, and one of the actors is literally going to be James Dean. Recreated
digitally
recreated into the role, and I was
CGI James Dean,
and I was like, that's
a really bad idea. That's people way too confident in their toys, man. They shouldn't do that.
That's like Prince being a hologram on stage.
But this is in a film, in a role. But I remember thinking years ago, this conversation years ago when I first started to see a little of that action. I thought, one day, let's say you want to have a film, but we want starring Marilyn Monroe, and here you go. Well, now we're actually getting to that point, I guess. But who knows what?
The only way you can do it is if you take actual real footage and kind of rework them a little bit. Yeah. But when you just do a digital recreation, they're always just the dead eyes, the uncanny valley. They can never get past it. It's always wrong.
Until what is the there's a phrase from
uncanny valley
where there's a one word where the computers are now programming themselves. There's a phrase that they use in these circles.
I know what you're talking about.
it sounds like something from Star Trek. Singularity. When we make that jump, well, here's the thing, though. So I agree with you completely about the end of the rope for the technology. Oh, we're going to a break, I think. Oh, we're going to break. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about that because I think it's very interesting. And then maybe Al's going to play another song.
You got it, man.
Right on. So we're going to take a quick break, folks. Don't go anywhere. You're on Coastal A&E on TV Delmarva.
Here's a great way to save money on your credit card bills. If you have 3 or more credit cards and you're way behind on the payments, we can show you a way to pay as little as 50% and have 0 debt in 24 months. Call now and learn how to reduce your credit card bills by 50% and be 100% debt-free. We always offer 24/7 help and a free consultation. Call right now.
This is Sea Talk, ocean news from the University of Delaware. Delaware faces significant challenges from coastal storms and flooding. Sea level rise and intensifying storms promise to increase these impacts in the future, but coastal residents are already dealing with these hazards. Delaware Sea Grant, the Sustainable Coastal Communities Initiative, and others at the University of Delaware created the Delaware Resilience Awareness Program, or DELRAP, to engage the public in documenting and helping others to learn about the ways intensifying storms and flooding are already affecting Delawareans. Through a series of workshops, DELRAP shared information with community members and invited them to contribute personal experiences through both stories and photos for a digital storytelling project. This is Sea Talk, a public service announcement from the University of Delaware, the Delaware Sea Grant College Program, and this station.
Here's a great way to save money on your credit card bills. If you have 3 or more credit cards and you're way behind on the payments, we can show you a way to pay as little as 50% and have 0 debt in 24 months. Call now and learn how to reduce your credit card bills by 50% and be 100% debt-free. We always offer 24/7 help and a free consultation. Call right now. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day and injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call now and learn how to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
All it takes is a little snare, man.
The Night Flight with Michael.
That's right.
You listen to the smooth sound.
Groovy.
Night Flight. Hey, are you familiar with ASMR? Have you seen any of the ASMR videos out there on YouTube? Yeah.
Maybe. What are they?
Audio sensory meridian response.
Oh.
I'm really
Is it the really low speaking thing?
Well, that's part of it, but there's also there's what they call triggers for people if you're sensitive to certain sounds, like people picking on tapping and moving their, and it will literally. Yes, that's
chewing.
They have people.
I think
chewing,
I have that either.
And it will send this interesting sensation through your body.
They covered that on South Park. Remember the brown sound?
Oh, yeah.
Brown sound.
The brown note.
You don't want to hear the brown sound.
You want the brown note to happen.
The brown note, yeah.
But ASMR, so a lot of ASMR is just that. That's sort of it. Actually, a lot of it started from Bob Ross the painter.
Really?
Remember the guy with the big fro, the happy little
low and very
yes. And so I was a kid, and I would watch him on PBS.
It's very comforting.
I would, this is before any idea of my career as a visual artist, but I just liked he was fun, and he was nice, and he was very calming and very peaceful.
It's a cult
and I would
now.
always
It's
fall
a cult,
asleep.
Bob Ross.
Yeah, and that's what people do. They watch these things to just be lulled.
I like to
They're
create
hitting like creepy notes with that too now. Like that's becoming kind of controversial because there's a lot of like it's disgusting, but like little girls eating food on that. That's like becoming like a weird thing.
What's a weird thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Like kind of like girls just like, okay, now I'm gonna eat an orange.
Are you talking about on the ASMR?
Yes.
Well, sorry, I don't know if they're, but I think they're over 18. But so eating's part of it. Yeah, I mean, you have to.
At least maybe my searches are different.
Some of it. There's certain things I don't like. There's one I've discovered. This is so ridiculous. And all she does, she goes into Walmarts and Kmart's, and she goes to like the fingernail polish, which is always a crazy wreck. And she just puts everything back into order on camera. And
as
she's
a random,
it's
not
like,
an
what?
employee.
She's
Just
not
go
an employee.
straighten it
It's
out
so
like
bizarre. And she's like, oh, this
like
is
an OCD thing.
Cardinal blue needs it. This is why would and she just talks the whole thing, but it's weirdly
I'm going to look
peaceful.
into this, Mike.
I'll send you a link, man.
Sounds
Check
funny.
ASMR. Check it out. But as gentlemen that work in creative fields, musician, you do a lot of audio, obviously. When you do this has become part of an interesting meme. This one woman that I follow has something like 3 million followers, and insane. Yeah. Her videos have 40 million views. And I was like, what? Looking at that last night, 40 million views? And she's like, here just sort of brushing some things, tapping on stuff. So there's there's
does give you hope, right?
That's right.
Well, I mean, you can have so much fun with like audio levels and all that. Like there's so many things you can do with it. One of my favorite bands is band called LCD Sound System. They're not their last album, but the album before that. He's a really funny guy. Like he used to write for The Simpsons. Like he's just a really witty, funny guy. The lead singer, they're both the main guy. But the first track on it, he mixed the sound level like halfway down, so it's pretty low. So he wanted people to put it in like when they have listening parties, just put it in put it in like nope, not louder. And by the middle of the song, like this hard, it goes way up, and like people like blew out speakers like all over New York and everything. It's pretty funny.
That sounds hilarious.
Yeah, right. Just blew out my beautiful Paradigm speakers.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. That's creative. You're pretty weird, man.
Well, one of the before we took our break, and I said, I want to talk about that when we get back, and now I can't remember what it was. We were talking about CGI-esque and that type of involvement.
Uncanny Valley.
In film.
And the singularity.
The singularity. Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you for bringing me back on point. So, yes, they don't have that ability now, but eventually they will. Don't you think? I mean, the technology will keep evolving. That's just what happens. Science will get better, and eventually they will be able to say, here's a movie starring Marilyn Monroe.
I don't know if they'll ever be able to cross. I mean, it keeps getting better, but there's always something wrong. There's no matter how far they get, there's always something that your eye can tell.
We'll see if we live long enough to get there.
Yeah, because I think that's going to happen really soon.
I think the next really huge, big step over the line is going to be the human digital interface. It's going to be just wiring up brains.
Yeah.
Where you don't look at a computer. You just, it has to happen. It has to happen. I remember when I was a kid, I read a book called The Terminal Man. Remember?
Oh, actually, I read
guy had
The Terminal
epilepsy, and they put a computer circuit in his head to control the epilepsy. But of course, it made him go haywire and start killing people. But
of course,
I truly believe
that happens when you mess with the
giant science step is going to be the human machine interface.
Well, I've not done any of the 3D virtual reality, the Oculus, which you're seeing there, a lot of that. Yeah. But I just don't like the messaging that I'm seeing in some of these commercials. Because it seems very Orwellian to me, very just
enhanced reality.
Yes, your reality isn't good. Here's what you need. And that I think it's dangerous, but that's just me.
Inject these nanotechnologies into your bloodstream and
micro robots and stuff.
That's right. So I'm going to be offering aluminum hats.
Where is this conversation going?
I don't know, but I love our Christmas conversation.
That's right. It's totally gone off.
Merry Christmas, everybody! Happy New Year!
New Year! So, I didn't mean I don't know how we got, but because we were talking about film and a new movie coming out with James Dean, starring James Dean, who's been dead for 65 years.
He's spinning in his grave.
That's
man,
right. Yeah. He was a young dude when he kicked, so I don't know. You're a filmmaker, so I mean, how does that affect? Yeah, well, you've made a lot. You've done some lovely, wonderful films, but this type, how does that potentially impact? Or let me put it this way: maybe we have clients like, "Oh, can you do this? Can we have this type of crazy thing that I saw online? Can't you do that for me?"
Well, like I teach a film class at Del Tech, and one of the things I'm always pushing my students not to do is like just stay away from trying everything on digital, just because like doing digital
because you can
special effects, but. You have to have a huge amount of money to make anything look good. Like, it looks good on their computer. It's like, if you put that up on the big screen, people are going to laugh at you. Like, it's
crap.
just is not. It's just going to look like crap.
Right.
But as far as like things that I see happening in films, they can't make it happen. So, example, I know you're not a Star Wars guy, but there's a movie that came out called Rogue One that was kind of like a prequel to Star Wars. And the main general, the main like Nazi type general in Star Wars, they recreated him. And so the movie starts where he's kind of looking out of the Death Star, and his face is kind of reflected in the glass, and it looked great. Like, oh, that's really cool. I like how they did it. And then he just turns around to the camera and starts talking. It's like they got way too confident, and it just looked terrible.
It was a big fail.
It just looked like, oh, well, now the skin doesn't work.
I just suffered through that Scorsese thing that everybody's raving about.
I was just about to bring that up.
I couldn't buy the aging for a second. I mean, it's like you were saying. It's like, like De Niro didn't look young, and that was a physical thing because he's kind of hunched. His neck, his vertebrae have shrunk over the years. Like, it doesn't look like
that was my problem with it. Well, actually, the de-aging, I kind of like in the face. Like, I was fine with that after I just got used to it. But their body language is what made it
the
look
truth.
wrong. Like,
well, you brought up a good point when we were talking about this. Is there was a scene where he beats up the grocery store guy because he offended the daughter, and you said he moves out like a 70-something-year-old guy.
Yes,
he kicks the guy's ass, but it looks like your angry grandfather with a young. Well, I saw the film as well. I did not read anything about the CGI work or the digital youth enhancement, whatever they want to call it,
digital makeup.
And I'm looking at this, I'm like, something doesn't look right. Like,
I said my remark was it looked like. You've been to a funeral? It looked like cadaver makeup to me.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like.
There was, well, for one thing, zero lines under nothing.
I expected to be in a box and people go, "Oh, he looks so good,"
Yeah.
Well, I read an interview with Al Pacino. Several of the performers in the film, they were talking about that in particular. Now maybe it's because I don't know if they had to, but they loved this, and Al Pacino in particular was talking about. So he says, in the beginning of the movie, his character is supposed to be 39 years old. And I remember thinking, well, he didn't look 39. When I'm looking at it, maybe 59. I mean, he looked younger than what he is, but not 39.
Exactly.
But then he's saying, and I felt like I was 39 when I was filming it because, I would see the rushes and the cast member would say, hey, your character's 39 years old. Yeah. And he said that he felt like he was moving like he was there. I'm like, well, you probably weren't.
Sometimes they just never get it right. And even in a non-CGI way, I was into that series, Peaky Blinders.
Oh, I love that.
Peaky Blinders. But the mother, at one point, they're celebrating her 40th birthday, and she's like 70. I didn't buy it for a second. I mean,
people
40.
did age a lot different back then.
Yeah, I guess the gypsies.
Timing is never. That's one that's me overthinking films. But a lot of time when they start sort of putting out little time frames in a film, like this person is this old and their kid is. It never adds up.
Yeah, no, it never does. And I studied film too, and I remember one of my professors, this woman. I went to Jersey City State College. Shout out to Jersey City State. But one of my film professors, she was like, "Alan, it's suspension of disbelief. You have to do that, man. You have to," because I would call out everything. I don't get it.
Drives me crazy. I noticed that stuff too. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, hey, there was a napkin there and it's not there in the shot. It's a terrible,
Oh, you're a continuity.
Yes, it drives me crazy.
The boom mic dangling in the frame. Look, there it is. There it is.
Oh, look, she's changed her lipstick shade. You can see it right there. It's clear. Now it's back again. It doesn't make any sense. What are they thinking?
If you could use anything on a set more than anybody, it's someone just to watch continuity, because that is the hardest thing when you're filming is going back and like, oh, we got to shoot this again. Like, that glass is half full. It wasn't half full. Get on it.
Oh, even when I look back at like episodes of Costa Cuisine, which is the show and you would just forget because you're editing it together. Like, oh, wait a second, that glass of wine was full 1 minute. Now it's empty. Now it's full again. Because you just move things around. It's easy to forget to get past it. But that's what editors are for. That's why I understand.
Well, when an editor's there, it's too late. It's over.
Well, that's a good point. But I don't understand how in a large, let's say a big budget film. We got enough time going on here. when an actor gives just an absolutely terrible performance, and they've had take after take after take, and they have directors and they have people on set who are like, this, and it still is. I just don't see how that happens.
What? Just they give a bad performance, or
yeah, that's like, okay, well, this is the best of what we got. Is this crappy performance?
What's that line in My Favorite Year when he goes, "I'm not an actor, I'm a movie star," or something like that, because they're trying to put him on television. And
that's a great movie.
I haven't felt Peter O'Toole.
Peter O'Toole, it was something
film.
like that. But that's the idea. I'm not I'm a movie star.
I'm not an actor. You can't be respected. Remember these lines. But it's just about, there's as you know, obviously all of you know that there's a lot of moving parts to producing film, and even small amounts of film take for a long time.
Well, like you were talking about before, one of my jobs that I did for a long time, I was my title was media technician. I did a lot of video editing, shooting, Final Cut Pro, and people would expect Hollywood results. And I would say to them, even a video I shot one time for a friend, I'm like, I'm doing this on my MacBook and a couple of mini DV cameras, and he has it critiqued by, oh my God, I hope he's not listening. I love you, Rick. I'm just telling the story, okay? I hold no
But
grudge.
I'm judging you right now.
But anyway, the thing was,
harshly.
he had this famous director, this European guy who, has a $14 million editing suite at his disposal, and say, well, just use the built-in transitions here, and it's what I had to work with.
Especially, I get that when
people
I'm doing
want
commercials
Hollywood.
too.
They want Hollywood with a Canon camera and a laptop, and it's not going to happen.
And they'll give you like a half hour. Well, we got about a half hour, so you can get that shot, right? We'll do it. Yeah, it's fine. We can get that done.
Or they're going to produce something. I want this video made, and it has to include this, and this, and it's got to be 3 minutes. Well, you got to take out this, and this. Maybe we get it down to 3 or 4 minutes. They always want the kitchen sink, right?
They do. They want everything.
The pressures of producing, I guess, is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But it's nice that we live. That we even have these.
Well, the fact that we're able to do it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Right?
I mean, when I was growing up, I either wanted to be a cartoonist, a syndicated cartoonist, or a filmmaker. And at the time, it seemed like syndicated cartoonist was an easier route to go and more likely to happen, just because film was such an impossible, expensive thing. And when I'm teaching my class, I'm telling them all the time, you have no idea how lucky you are. That you can just go out and make movies and make them look good for nothing.
Sure.
It's crazy.
Well, if I could brag for a second, my student film at Jersey City State took the Director's Choice Award at the Atlanta Film Festival.
Hey, congratulations,
man. That's a big deal.
That's a long story. It's a long story, but now there's a statue.
Who'd you bribe?
That's my brag. And that's the only film I ever made. Later on,
if you're going to make one,
I was doing video and audio stuff.
Yeah, smart.
But, it was called Professor Blah Blah.
It was the name of the movie.
Yeah,
it was short.
It was very, David Lynch-esque, dark, black and white.
Right what year was that?
Oh, God. I don't know, 80-something, 84, 85, something like that.
Still out there, probably floating around somewhere.
I don't even have a copy myself.
So I got a little shout out.
I moved like Eraserhead kind of David Lynch crazy?
Yeah, very much. Like pools of light and darkness where you can't afford a good
People
set.
living in radiators and stuff.
Oh, God. In heaven, everything is fine.
But so we've been I think it would be interesting one day to talk about that rise of of technology and the tools, the creative tools that it has delivered just over the last 20 years. Yeah. I remember because we used to own an art gallery in DC, and in the early 90s, and that's when you could go. It was new at the time. You could get a jet printer at Staples. Remember, people were like, "Oh, I can print now. Look, I'm a photographer. I'm a fine art photographer out of my kitchen." So anyone that was in the art gallery business, you would just have these people that were okay with new digital cameras, which were new at that time, taking these crappy photos that were a terrible resolution, printing them out.
And a lot of them have no idea they're crappy. They're like,
that was one thing.
Showing it off and go, man, look what I did here.
The other thing they didn't realize is that there was no archival reference point for these things that were printing, and then within 4 months they were going to fade into some ugly. And they were and there were galleries though at the time that also didn't know that were giving some people that were pretty good shows, and you can imagine the hot mess that ensued when someone would pay a couple $1,000s for a print that was faded into nothing on crappy Staples printout paper because people didn't know.
Yeah,
cheap printers. I used to do my college papers on a dot matrix printer.
Yeah.
And I remember this one professor looking at it. She's like, "I just rather you would handwrite this."
But that wasn't that long ago when you think about it. We're talking like 25 years ago, 25 years ago.
Pretty much it. Yeah.
We were all, we were all there, young adults or, and kids in school, you're having access to that. And as you said, that technology didn't exist prior to that.
No.
So you had to find very interesting creative think-arounds to deal with any type of, situation.
When
and
I used to edit films when I was a kid, do you guys remember like the dual VCRs?
Sure.
Where I could put one down?
Yeah.
So we would record everything on this one VHS tape, like just do really long takes, and then I put in one of the other ones. And so whenever I saw a scene, I was like, that's working. I'd hit record on the other one, and that's how I kind of like edited it all together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I love it. So we got way off the topic of holiday film. That was just sort of a little thing. La, 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 la. We went down our top films. Al's thrown in one. Colin's thrown in one. I think that was a pretty good thing. As again, there's a lot of lists out there that you can find. Did you look at any lists for inspiration, or these were?
I did. I took a look just to make sure I wasn't missing anything. I still didn't change anything. It's still the list I have is. But I just wanted to see like, am I missing something? It's maybe I'm just getting old. I don't know. But yeah, no, it's.
Yeah. Did you mention someone mentioned Christmas in Connecticut earlier, which I watched the other day? Was it you? No, I can't remember. Said that's a good one, but it's not. I didn't. It doesn't make my top 5, but for some people it does. That's all holiday. The whole thing. It's
Bad Santa's a good choice. I enjoy.
God, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking I'm familiar with maybe 6 or 7 Christmas films. I guess I just never really got. I took those TV shows, the animated ones, like the other day, Rudolph the Reindeer.
Yeah, those are great. I think
with Burl Ives.
It is Burl Ives. That's Big Daddy.
Well, if
you ever see Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, that's Big Daddy.
That's what Ren and Stimpy based Stinky Whistleteats on Burl Ives. Yeah.
It's a very
fly marries a bumblebee.
Well, my list, we did have one, the Charlie Brown Christmas. That was on my list.
Oh, yeah. That made it there. And the music is indelible. That stays in your brain forever. Yeah.
I'll tell you what the real meaning of Christmas is, Charlie Brown. It's a very sweet scene.
Well, because they're real kids. They're not actors. They're just real kids saying, and it's just, there's something so charming about it.
And their voices were soothing, and they burn into your cortex.
And there's some lines, there's still this day, sometimes I will throw that line that Sally, all I want is what's coming to me. All I want is my fair share. That's how he uses when he's writing a letter. That's a perfect line sometimes.
I know this is from the Halloween one, but like, I deserve restitutions.
Yes.
I remember like,
restitution.
I deserve restitutions.
Oh, yeah. So there's some great little lines. But that particular, the Charlie Brown, which came out in 1965, the year I was born, so I feel sort of this connect, every Christmas you say. In fact, I purchased it so I can just watch it when I want during the holidays.
Oh, we bought it too. Yeah, same thing. And I got it on vinyl, like a real the old.
Wow.
Yeah,
nice. But it's just a very peaceful, grounding, beautiful, very simple message.
Yeah.
It's all about,
we need more of that.
About peace. Yeah.
We need more of that.
Well, the other interesting thing is that, it's done through the dog, Snoopy. They address the commercialism in Christmas pretty blatantly.
Yeah.
And that was 55 years ago.
Yeah.
And
the toy stores were full of Peanuts action figures.
Yes, they still are, as a matter of fact. He's bigger and pop. I see that. I was watching the Macy's Day Parade, a little bit of it, what I could tolerate of it, and they have the float. Snoopy's now in a NASA suit, so they're doing some big project together. There's a new film coming.
Actually, I texted my sister. I was like, I'm officially an old man. I'm enjoying the Macy's Day Parade on like Thanksgiving morning. I am officially old. It happened.
That was our big thing as kids. If we stayed out of the kitchen while my mother did her thing, we could have pumpkin pie for breakfast.
Breakfast.
That's one day of the year.
It's got fiber.
And watch the it wasn't bad.
It gets you going.
Yeah, a little dairy,
all your food groups.
It was perfect, man. To watch, and you would see the Spider-Man, all the things I love. But now it just seems very commercial. But hey, that's the business, that everyone is.
I mean, if it's not commercial, we're not going to see it.
Exactly.
So,
but the show tunes are there. They're all most of the show tunes are right now. It seems that they're all based on aging rock stars. Their life. Yeah. They just pulled Cher. Tina Turner's got one out there. Yeah. Elton John. I mean, that's or just bad TV shows.
I understand the Carole King thing was.
I heard that was good. But it's already off. Yeah. It's already gone.
I know it's gone. I didn't get to see it.
I heard the Cher thing.
Everybody was raving about it,
but it got taken. That's no longer out. But now the new one is Tina Turner's. In fact, they had it during the Macy's Day Parade.
Oh yeah,
yeah. There was the actress doing Proud Mary, and the little gold number that she spins around.
How old is she now?
Tina Turner, I think she just turned 80, 81.
80?
Something like that.
80. I think, yeah.
She's
It's crazy.
But I saw her, she was at the opening of her homage musical, looking great, out there working it. So good. Yeah. Anyway, that was, we digress. You guys got to jump in here,
down that drain just so well. I love it.
Christmas, I got a Christmas scene for you. Make a film. Use in a film. When I was a kid, I had... my aunt gave me a chemistry set for Christmas.
Yeah.
Man, I was out of my mind. I got this chemistry set, right? And it's loaded with all like they wouldn't allow this today. And it even had a Bunsen burner. I was like 8 years old. It came with a Bunsen burner. So we got a visit over the holidays, maybe just after Christmas, from my father's nephew and his kid. So I guess this kid was my cousin. And I really had a dislike for this kid because he was real prissy. And they brought him, and he was he had a little suit, like a little gabardine suit, and he was like, So I'm playing with all my Christmas stuff, and I had this chemistry set. So I was literally in my bedroom, the Bunsen burner is going, test tubes are bubbling. It was crazy. So he comes in, they're like, I don't even remember this kid's name, but they're like, here, play with your cousin. And they shove him in my room with my chemistry set, and he's got this prissy little suit on, it's brand new. He must have got it for Christmas. And I had something cooking, man, in a like a beaker.
I'm open for fire here.
And it had right. The fire's going, there's a stopper in the thing, and this stuff is turning black inside. And the cork, the test tube like explodes, right? And this inky black stuff just shoots all over the place, covers his little prissy suit. He's like crying. He goes running out. Oh, my mother was livid. That's a good scene.
That's
right?
a good scene.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
I'm just,
All right, I got a Christmas one too. This isn't as dark as yours. So it's kind of crazy. So my dad always tells me this story, but when he was growing up, his parents would not have a tree up, any decorations or anything in the house till Christmas Eve. And then when he went to bed Christmas Eve, they put up the tree, the decorations, the presents, everything. Yeah. So when he came down Christmas morning, it was the whole house was completely done. But they did that all overnight.
Christmas Eve was always our tree. Like when I was a kid, my parents were like Depression era people, and I guess on Christmas Eve you got the tree for like $1. So it became tradition. You put the tree up on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
But I guess as a little kid, that would be quite a visual thing. We always put up. My sister's birthday was December 18th, so we always put it up on December 18th.
That's good.
Yeah, it was nice.
My sister was near Christmas, the 27th. So her birthday was never a thing. It was like she hated it.
You feel bad for this kid.
Yeah.
It's your birthday too. Yeah, whatever. The Christ beat you. Whatever. He wins.
You get one extra present.
One extra present. Hit the road. Nobody cares.
Chemistry set.
Get out of here, kid. Well, the other thing that was popular when I was a kid. So I was born in '65. Flocked trees where you would take your tree to the fire station. What were they dipping?
Spray it
That's
down.
Like asbestos craziness, but they were so people were into these trees.
Okay, sure.
And you bring them back into your house. I mean, it was this noxious fume for like 3 or 4 days.
I've got a new musical friend who he does a Christmas tree thing. He told me about it. I've seen pictures of it. I've never been to his house. This guy Bunky. Bunky's a great guitar player. A nice guy, super nice guy. But his house, he sets up like a museum of, it's all like pink chrome and the ones that turn with the light.
The retro
trees. And like his whole house. There's like 1 million trees in there. I would love to see it. Those things are so retro.
Well, I live in Lewis, like right off the beach, and so we always drag our tree to the dunes. They actually tell us to do that.
Burn them?
No.
Actually, after Christmas.
To help. Well, actually, that goes to that.
Yeah.
It helps.
They can nest in.
Yeah, it actually helps build up the dunes.
Yeah.
But we used to have like a big end of season bonfire. So one year when we had it on our beach, I had 5 years worth of trees.
They burn like crazy dried out Christmas trees.
Well, so I set up each year. So it was like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. And so just set them all on fire at once to see like who would burn fastest. So the most recent one went up like that. But the oldest one took forever to burn.
That's because it had been out there in the weather and absorbed
it absorbed everything.
Probably.
I mean, scientifically it makes sense. But it was
a dry one will just go up like tinder. They go like that.
Yeah.
Because of what they have, is the oil in the trees?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, with all the needles and everything. Yeah.
Conifers.
I love the smell of burning Christmas tree. That didn't come out right.
In the mornings.
Yes, in the morning. It's nice in the morning. Not in the middle of the night. Like, wait a second.
My grandparents used to put in the 50s, like just before I was born, their Christmas tree actually had candles.
Oh, the original candles.
Wow, and one year the tree went up in the house. You know, they put it out somehow, but that was a family story for you. Remember the year that Christmas tree burned?
Yeah, like in the 50s movies and 30s, like they all had like.
What are you thinking? You put candles on. You know, like Thomas Edison had done that thing. You don't have to use those.
Even those bulbs in the 70s when they were incredibly hot.
They were
really hot.
Yeah, but they look the best.
They
look great. But
they make you happy.
My mother was such afraid. I got water because she was. Oh my gosh, she would freak out about any little the electric.
I like
storm.
the LEDs though. I really do. The LEDs are cool.
It's not warm. You know,
it's not warm, but it's colorful and bright. Dude,
that's our outro music, gentlemen. I've had a really fun time.
Yeah, man, it was great.
Did you have a good time, Rob?
Yeah,
thank you. Going over to Talking Film, Holiday Film. Al, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Likewise.
We only could hear one song because we got.
I'm sorry, bro.
We started. It's all our
I'd have
fault.
gladly given you a Christmas song.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Come down to Broadkill tonight.
Go see Broadkill tonight.
Yep.
I know you have to make reservations, but yes, you're going to be at Gilligan's and Milton for New Year's Eve, and you play around town.
Yeah, man.
Rob, you're going to be downtown tonight.
I'll be downtown with my camera, getting in the way